This book would never happen without lots and lots of luck, because I wasn't really the person, I didn't think, to write it. I thought you were. I really did. I thought it took me, I mean, before I actually said, yeah, I'm going to do this, that wasn't until 2014. And before I did that, I'd made 3 trips to Israel. I'd spent hours and hours and hours noodling over Amos's papers. I'd spent countless hours interviewing people in around Danny. And it kept, in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, Malcolm would do this better. And because it is your kind of subject, right? My problem, the problem I had right from the beginning, was unlike with The Blind Side or Moneyball or any of the Wall Street books, where I felt I really could get my mind around the subjects. I realized I had subjects whose minds were too big for mine to get around. That that I was the B student trying to write about A students. And the Wall Street people and the sports people, some of those people were themselves A students, but they're operating in very C student-like environments. That the Wall Street, in the end, did you
just call Wall Street a C student environment?
It's a C student environment, in the end, and so I thought this subject really demanded an A student writer, which is you.
Just and that you make up to me.
No.
All of that.
That what you do so well, what you've always done so well, is you've given ideas the qualities of actions on the page. That you can take ideas and make everybody forget you're not writing really about a person. You're writing about an idea. It feels like you're reading about action. And so I thought that quality in the writer who handled this material would have been very, very useful, and I knew I didn't have it.
But what you did, I mean, the book, which parenthetically I loved, the truly magical parts are the parts where you're describing the love story between these two men, the intellectual love. I mean, it's more than it's a non-sexual love story, as you say, and I think in the book. That's you. You're doing what you've done so beautifully before, and that's the part I thought that I don't believe I could have even come close to pull off.
Why not?
Here we go.
Here we go. I mean, have you ever reflected? I mean, have you ever, why you have trouble writing relationships?
do we really? How much time do we have?
No. So the relationship was one of if that relationship is what drove me into the book. That's right. I thought. And also the feeling, here's what happened in the end. Here's what happens with all the books. All the books feel in the end like it is a responsibility. There's such good stories. I have so much of the material in my head. I have some special point of access. If I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. And I did realize at some point that the only way this book gets written is if I do it. And I said to Danny, actually, Danny was very reluctant and hesitant about me writing a book about
Why?
it. Because I think at the back of his mind, he realized that he was an A student who was about to be written about by a B student, and that's terrifying because
but there's no one smart enough.
So that's right too, and so I think also he didn't see. He saw nothing. He said, I'm the surviving partner. Whoever writes a book about us is inevitably going to give me more credit than I deserve. And people are going to be, in my world, are going to be angry and think it was self-aggrandizing for me to cooperate with this thing. He said, and I think he thought, like, what good could come of it? I can imagine a lot of bad things coming of it, but what good is going to come of this? And what prevailed, I think, was I persuaded him that whether he wanted a book written about them or not, someone is eventually going to do it. And possibly after he's no longer alive.
Might as well be the guy who lives up the street.
Might as well. What I said to him exactly was, somebody's going to write a book about you, and it's probably going to be a bad book. Of all, I should have the right to write a bad book about you. That we've spent all this time together. I know you. You know I'm basically fond of you. That if there's going to be a bad book, I should have a crack at it. And so that was and he really bought that. I mean, I could see, it was like, It was, the sales pitch to Danny was better than anything I did at Solomon Brothers. It was that he really, when he would get troubled in his mind about me doing this thing, he'd come back to that place. It's going to happen anyway. Someone's going to do it. So that was but I really thought that. I thought someone's going to do this, and no one's going to have the stuff that I have. So I ought to do this. I ought to give it a whirl.